Fine. So this topic relevant every day more and more to our time. The topic, the title is Chevlei Mashiach, הניסיונות שלפני הגאולה, the challenges that will be before the final redemption. And it's called Chevlei Mashiach, like a pregnant woman who was about to deliver, so it's very, very painful right before the baby coming out. So that's the thing that Chazal says about what's going to happen before the Geula. It will be hard. Now, the question is, in what way? So we'll start from a few psukim from the prophet Yechezkel. And Navi Yechezkel in Perek Kaf. This is a long Perek, but I'll give you the summary. Yechezkel was at Bovel before the destruction of Beit Rishon. 11 years before Beit Rishon was destroyed, Nebuchadnezzar, Melech Bavel, came to Yerushalayim and captured the city and took the king and captured and all the aristocrats and all of the leaders, and among them was Yechezkel Hanavi. So Yechezkel got his nevuot. The famous perek, the first perek is about Maaseh Merkava, a chariot, the famous chariot, and this was given to him 6 years before the destruction of Beit Rishon in Bovel. So among the things that he bring this in the Perek Kaf, he said that people from Ziknei Israel, the elders of Israel, came to him Lidrosh Hashem. And actually, what happened there, they came to him and asked him, there are nevuos of Yirmiyahu and you that we're going to go to exile, the Beit HaMikdash is going to be destroyed. So they want to verify, is that it? Is that the end of the relationship between the Jewish nation and Hashem? That was the topic that they want to verify. Where are we holding? And basically the message was, no way, no way. We are married, we will never get divorced. That's what they said. They asked, you know, if we're separating, we do not have anything to do with Hashem. Hashem doesn't have anything to do with us. So Hashem told the Navi Yechezkel to tell them, no way. We are together forever. You sinned, you're going to be punished, but at the end, we're going to go back. Now, there are very interesting things that he said over there, and let's see a few psukim from Perek Kaf in Yechezkel. Pasuk Lamed Hey, the 35th pasuk. He said the following, Veheveti etchem el midbar amim. He speaks about the exile, and he said, I will bring you to the desert of the nations. This is very interesting notion. The desert of the nations. ונשפטתי אתכם שם פנים אל פנים, כאשר נשפטתי את אבותיכם במדבר ארץ מצרים. Very interesting. We were in this before. We were in exile in Egypt, and we were about to get to Eretz Israel, and without the spies, the chet of the spies, the sin of the spies, we will go straight from Mitzrayim to Eretz Israel. But what happened? Because of Chet HaMeraglim, they had to go to another exile for 40 years in the desert before they came to the Eretz Israel in the first place. So actually what the Navi Yechezkel says here, that it's going to repeat itself in the history. You are now going to exile. That's what Yechezkel and Yirmiyahu said before the destruction of Beit Rishon. Before you will come to Eretz Israel, will be a process parallel to what happened in the 40 years in the desert. Now, what was the purpose of the 40 years in the desert? To get rid of all of those who didn't believe to Hashem and believe to the Meraglim that it's not good to go to Eretz Yisrael. This exact thing gonna happen in the future before the redemption. Before the redemption, when the Jewish people will go back to Eretz Yisrael physically and spiritually, will be this process. And here he called it Midbar Ha'amim. It will not be in the Sinai desert like it was there, but it will be in the desert of the nations. We still need to understand what he means. So let's continue. והבאתי אתכם אל מדבר העמים, ונשפטתי אתכם שם פנים אל פנים, כאשר נשפטתי את אבותיכם במדבר ארץ מצרים, כן אשפט אתכם נאום השם אלוקים. Now there are some details. והעברתי אתכם תחת השבט, והבאתי אתכם במסורת הברית, ובראתי מכם המורדים והפושעים בי. What are the meaning of those words? והעברתי אתכם תחת השבט. I will make you going under the shevet is a stick. Is a stick. והבאתי אתכם במסורת הברית. I will bring you back to the covenant that I have with you in Har Sinai. ובראתי מכם, and this is the main thing, ובראתי מכם המורדים והפושעים בי. At the end of days, those Jews who will be mordim, rebel against Hashem, and posh'im bi, he said over here that they will be eliminated from the Jewish nation the same way the entire generation of those who accept the Lashon Hara of the Meraglim in the Midbar, they will not come to Eretz Yisrael. Wow. Now we have to understand what that means. And here we're going to see very, very interesting thing, according to my tastes, at least. We'll see. It was an historic, okay, let's give an overview. You know, we are suffering so much during the exile for so many years. We know the hope that keep us is the fact that Hashem promised that He will redeem us. And we all this time waiting for Mashiach. Because of this anticipation, yearning of Geula, many not good people during the history caused us tremendous damage by pretending that they are Mashiach. It started from Jesus. I mean, he is one of the famous ones. That I don't know if he himself told about himself that he is a Mashiach, but the nations of the world accept him as Mashiach. And because of that, just because of this lie, so much Jewish blood was shattered. After that, there was few Meshichei Sheker. Shabtai Tzvi is one of the famous ones, but it was more in different places, using this hope of the Jews for redemption and promising that the time of the Geula is here, I'm the Mashiach. Okay? One of those events, I don't know if you heard about it, happened 900 years ago. About maybe a little bit more, 900 years ago. In Yemen, in the Jewish community, the isolated Jewish community in Taiman, in Yemen, was also some Jew who started to give people ideas that he is the Mashiach. How do we know about this event? Because of a famous letter that Rambam, Rabbeinu Moshe ben Maimonides, sent to Taiman, called Igeret Taiman. You familiar with this? You ever heard about that? Igeret Taiman? Okay. Igeret Taiman is very famous Igeret, one of the Kitvei Rambam, that he was asked with the chief rabbi at the time of Taiman what to do. He asked him, he sent the question to the Rambam. Rambam was at the time the doctor of the Egyptian kings. So he was in Egypt, very close. Even though Egypt is in Africa and Yemen is in the other side, but it's very close geographically. And he sent them a letter and he told them, I don't know what to do. We have here this guy that pretended he's Mashiach. He made a lot of fuss, a lot of noise. The goyim over there start to think that the Jews are cooperating with them, and probably it's going to be a rebel against them because the Mashiach is going to conquer the world. And the Goyim started to be very mean to the Jews. And many Jews started to live Yiddishkeit. Live Yadut, live practicing Torah. So he asked an advice from the Rambam what to do. So the Rambam sent him a whole big igeret, big scroll, and I want to show you a few things from this igeret because it's very relevant to what's happening today. It was 9 years ago, and 900 years ago, it was, again, people was waiting for redemption, and the evil just got involved and caused a lot of problems. So what the Rambam has to say about this? So a few words from the Igeret of the Rambam. The Rambam says the following. Igeret Teiman, Rambam, על העת הקשה הזאת שראה הנביא במחזה, התחיל להעתיר בעדנו ולהתפלל עלינו. Okay, it's written in Hebrew. I will try to translate the main points. Those of you who could read Hebrew, you could read the original, okay? He says the following. He wants to encourage the Jews to keep holding of the faith, of the emunah, even though that the time is very difficult. So he said that the Navi Amos, saw that at the end of days or before the Geula will be big problems for the Jewish nation in a way that many Jews will not survive as Jewish. And he davened to Hashem. The Navi Amos says here, I'm going to quote the Navi Amos. He said to, Navi Amos saying to Hashem, please Hashem. Vayomer, ve'amar, Hashem Elokim chadalna. Please stop it. It's too much. The challenges are too much. If you continue this pressure on the Jewish nation, mi yakum Yaakov ki katanu. He will not stand in this. That's what the Navi says. So says the Rambam, according to this, we understand that before the Geula will come, will be big pressure, and many Jews will leave Judaism in a way that the Navi should ask Hashem, felt that he had to beg Hashem to stop this pressure. Now, he says the following, ודבר זה לא יערער בו בעל אמונה ולא ישליחהו מי שיש לו במשה אמונה. ואין ספק להיות אלו חבלי משיח. So from the Navi, we know that big challenges, big nisyonos are going to happen, right? And if you have the real emunah, you have to be aware of this, of those challenges, and we'll see later what kind of challenges. It's not just this person that pretend to be the Mashiach. Will be more nisyonos, and we'll see what will be the nisyonos. But he said, you have to be strong. Those are chevlei Mashiach. It's chevlei leida. It's the pain before the birth. So you have to be strong. And he said, ואין ספק להיות אלו חבלי משיח שהיו החכמים מבקשים מהבורא שלא יהיו מצויים בהם. It's Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin that the Amoraim and Tanoim says, I want Mashiach, I want Geula. But if I could not be in the generation that's going to happen, it will be too much. If it's up to me, I will not want to live at the time of Mashiach or right before the time of Mashiach. Okay, so we continue and says, אבל מה שאמרת, now we're speaking to the Rav of the Jewish community in Teiman because of this event. So says the Rambam to him, אבל מה שאמרת, שדעת קצת בני עמנו נעדרה ונתבלבלה, ונעה לבבם והתחדש להם ספק ונתחלפה סברתם, וקצת לא סרו מאמונתם ולא נתעלפו ולא חרדו לזה. So the Rambam tell him, what did you describe about what's happening in your community? That many Jews got doubt, who said that all of this is true, now we have a false Mashiach, and who said that Yiddishkeit or the Emunah is true, and they left. But some of them were strongly keep holding. So the Rambam says, before I give you an advice, let me tell you that these facts, that some left and some stayed strong, it's written by the Nevuah, by the Navi. And he quote here, Sefer Daniel. דבר זה, says the Rambam, כבר קדם לנו על ידי דניאל עליו השלום. כמו שיודיענו הבורא, כי בהאריך, listen to those words, כי בהאריך לנו הימים בגלותנו, when our exile will be long, האריך לנו הימים, ובבוא הצרות עלינו, when troubles will coming one after another, יצאו רבים מן הדת, ויתחדש להם ספק ויטעו. So he said, the Navi said that was going to happen, that many will leave the Yadus, will leave the Torah, and they will have doubts. ויתחדש להם ספק ויטעו. So the Navi prepares us in advance that will be a question mark about the Jewish faith because of the length of the Golus and because of the problems that are going to happen. So where it's written Al Yedei Daniel, where it's written in Daniel, so he quotes over here, it's in a few places, he quotes over here Perek Yud Bet, which is the last chapter of Daniel, Pasuk Yud. וסיבה זאת תהיה, why they will leave, בראותם דלדולנו ותוקף יד מוננו והתגברם עלינו. They will see that for a long time the Jewish nation are on the bottom and the enemies of the Jewish people are the leaders. So some of them, because of this, will say, okay, it's over. We won. Maybe once we were a great nation, but now it's not worth to be Jewish. וקצתם לא יתחדש להם ספק ולא תתבלבל שפתם. And some of them, of the Jews, will stay strong and stay believers, right? So where it's written in Daniel, in this pasuk, he quote here, pasuk Yud, בפרק י"ב, יתבררו ויתלבנו ויצרפו רבים, והרשיעו רשעים, ולא יבינו כל רשעים, והמשכילים יבינו. It's written. What's written in the pasuk? Let's go back again. יתבררו ויתלבנו ויצרפו רבים. Let's translate or try to translate all those three things. יתבררו, יתבררו is לברר. לברר is to, like boirer in Shabbos, you're not allowed to take the פסולת מתוך האוכל, לא תאכל, זה לברר. לברר is to clear, to make clear what's here and what's there. יתבררו. ויתלבנו. יתלבנו, it's like laundry. Laundry, you have a white shirt with stains, so you have to clean it up, make it white again. So take the dirt out and leave the original shirt. That's ויתלבנו. יתבררו ויתלבנו ויצרפו. What ויצרפו? יצרפו is, in Hebrew, a person who make jewelry clean. Let's say you take gold from the mine, you need to clean it up, right? That's called tzoref. tzoref זה מצרף. Take the pieces of the gold that with them there is a lot of dirt, take the dirt off, and then what happened? The gold will become one, clear, pure gold. This is called tzoref. So here the Navi used those three words, יתבררו, ויתלבנו, ויצרפו רבים. והרשיעו רשעים, ולא יבינו כל רשעים. And the רשעים, which is the dirt, the psolet, will get out. והמשכילים יבינו. לא יבינו כל רשעים, והמשכילים יבינו. And those who are more smart or more sure about the truth of the Judaism, they will stay. So actually what's written here? That will be challenges. The challenges will not be just killing Jews or anti-Semitism. The challenges, the main challenges, and those are the main challenges of our generation, will be philosophical questions about who said that it's true. It's a long time. We never saw a miracle in our eyes right now. It's all stories, right? So those will be the challenges, and the one who is strong will stay. The one who are not strong, they will use this as an excuse why to get out. The purpose of all of this, to purify the Jewish nation, because the Geula will be only for those who deserve the Geula. And who deserve the Geula? Who believe in the Redeemer. And that actually the parallel to what happened in the desert in the 40 years, right? Those who said Hashem has no ability to bring us to Eretz Yisrael. That's what the Meraglim says, right? The 10 of them. And those who believe them, okay, you'd think I could not bring you to Eretz Yisrael, fine, I will not bring you, I will bring your children. So this is the thing. It's called So those are the psukim in the Nevuah, but you have to know that in the Midrashim and in the Kabbalah, there is a lot of details about this process called berur. Berur, verifying, purifying. So the entire Galus, the purpose of it is to take us lemidbar ha'amim. You will be among the nations. You'll not be in your place. And you will be influenced by the ideas of the nation that you'll be about there. And then that will cause doubt or challenges for the Jews. Are you still believe in the truth of the Torah, or you're going with science, you're going with other ideas, philosophers and philosophies that actually telling you that it's not true? This is the big challenge. Those are the challenges that will be stronger right before the Geulah. Now, the Rambam continued, and he said an amazing thing. I hope to cover it, that we'll have the time to cover it. Let's see. He continued, and he says the following. הוסיף לבאר לנו, שאפילו המשכילים האלה, אפילו המשכילים ההמה, those who were strong and was connected to Yiddishkeit, המשכילים ההמה, והמבינים שעברו עליהם צרות ועמדו כנגדם, ונשארו באמונתם בהשם ובמשה עבדו. Those who in the first wave was still strong in their emunah, they didn't leave or have doubts like the others, right? The survivors of the first wave will come another wave. And this wave will be even a challenge for them, because it will be even more strong. והוסיף לבאר לנו שאפילו המשכילים ההם והמבינים שעבר עליהם צרות ועמדו כנגדם ונשארו באמונתם בהשם ובמשה עבדו, עדיין יעברו עליהם צרות קשות ורעות יותר מן הראשונות שעמדו כנגדם, עד שיתחדש להם ספק ויטעו. Even in the first wave they passed it, in the second wave some of them will fall. עד שלא יתבאר להם כי מעט מזער. The ones who will go all those waves, those are the pure gold that Hashem wants to redeem at the end of days. כמו שאמר בדניאל, and here he quote, remember before we saw chapter 12, now it's chapter 11 in Daniel, דניאל פרק י"א, ומן המשכילים ייכשלו, even from those who are משכילים, were knowledgeable and strong in their emunah, in the second or the third wave, there ייכשלו, לצרוף בהם ולברר וללבן עד עד קץ. Because the process of purification will be continued stage after stage. Now, after he said that, and he quoted the Nevi'im, the Rambam, now he gave the advice to the Rav of the community over there, the Jewish community in Teiman. ועתה אחינו, חייבים אתם להטות אוזניכם ולשמוע מה שאסדר לפניכם. You have to listen carefully to what I have to tell you. And I put over here a few arguments. That's what the Rambam says. ותלמדוהו לטף ולנשים. Teach it to everyone, not just to the Talmid HaChachamim. For the children, the little kids, and for the ladies that at the time was not educated, or teach everyone those things, because it's very important. ותלמדו לטף ולנשים כדי שיתקיים להם מה שיסתפק מאמונתם. That all the doubts that they have on the emunah has to be clear. And you have to teach them and verify for them, make them strong, understanding that this is the truth. Now we continue. ויתחזק בנפשותם האמת שאין לזוז ממנה. So we have to strengthen the emunah. That's what he said. ויצילנו הבורא ויצילכם מן הספק. And he said, you know, he davened to Hashem that Hashem will save us and you from doubts. Now, he continued and said this amazing thing. וכבר הבטיחנו הבורא יתברך, כאדם הנכנס ערב לחברו, ודי לנו בערבותו, והודיע שכל מי שעמד על הר סיני, שהם מאמינים בנבואת משה רבנו, ובכל מה שבא על ידו, הם ובניהם ובני בניהם עד עולם. Let me explain. There is, says the Rambam, there is a promise of Hashem himself that those people who were at Sinai, at Har Sinai, in the Ma'amad Har Sinai, in the revelation at Sinai, Hashem said, He promised this to Moshe Rabbeinu. Those people who are here and see Ma'amad Har Sinai in their eyes, they themselves, their children, and their children, to the end of days, will be a believer in Moshe uvechol ma sheba al yado, meaning in the entire Torah. Where Hashem said that? Look where. Sheken amar Hashem yitbarach, Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu, right before Ma'amad Har Sinai, Hashem says to Moshe Rabbeinu the following: Hine anochi ba elecha be'av ve'anan, I'm coming to you in the thickness of the cloud, ba'avur yishma ha'am bedabri imach, because I want the nation to hear that I'm talking to you, meaning you are my messenger. Vegam becha ya'aminu le'olam, and he emphasized the word le'olam. They will believe in you le'olam, meaning not just them, their descendants, forever. And from that he says, everyone that was there in Ma'amad Har Sinai, their children and grandchildren and the children to the end of days, they will be believers. Now, what that means, says the Rambam, those are the words, those are dramatic, amazing declaration. Lefikach, what's lefikach? Therefore, because Hashem promised this, Hashem himself, therefore, yesh ladat, says the Rambam, you have to know, שכל מי שנטע מדרך הדת הנתונה במעמד ההוא, anyone during the history that will tend to go out from the derech, from the way of the Torah, שאינו מזרע האנשים ההם. He is not a genuine seed of those people, because those people got a promise that they will be believer, and their children and their grandchildren to the end of days. So, if you look since then, 3,300 years ago, during the history, you find a Jew or someone who considered Jew that deny Hashem, deny the Torah, leave everything, and die like this. People could be Balei Tshuva, but if someone died like this, Koifer, it means that he is not from the dynasty of the people that was on Sinai. Wow. This is a big statement, and the Rambam said that. He knows what he's talking about. He's very responsible. And this statement seems so crazy. We know so many people during the history. We ourselves, but not ourselves, just ourselves, in the former generations, children of Gedolei Israel, not of simple people. Gedolei Israel Mamish, people that are the pillars of our, the Sfarim that we learn in all the yeshivas. And their children become Koifrim Mamish. They lived against Torah and they died like this. So how could it be? They are not from, if you decide or declare this, make it absolute, that they are not from the seed of the people that was in Har Sinai, what about their parents? What about their parents? This is a big thing that need to be verified, and Rambam said that. It's not a joke. But you know what? Not just the Rambam said that. The Ramban also said that. In this case, they do not defer each other. They agreed. And I want to show you, because our time is really short. I mean, short relative to this topic. The bottom line is of what he said over here, we have to make the responsibility of those who knows. They have a responsibility to make everyone stronger in Emunah. And if you do whatever you could, and people do not listen, this is part of the process called birur. And those guys has to get out, because the redemption at the end will be only for the pure gold. But then he declared this declaration. We have to understand what that means. Okay? So I'll skip over here because he speaks about very important things in the continuation of the Igeret. I will skip. I want to get to the Ramban. This is the pasuk in Daniel that he quote, "Yitbareru veyitlabnu veyitzarfu rabim," and the purpose will be that those who are Reshaim will get out, וירשיעו רשעים ולא יבינו כל רשעים, והמשכילים יבינו. המשכילים meaning those who are knowledgeable and have the right, strong faith. Okay, now let's go to the Ramban. The Ramban said those words on the pasuk in Sefer Devarim, Parashat Nitzavim. At the end of Devarim, Parashat Nitzavim, let me just remind you, if it's needed, I don't know, that Parashat Nitzavim come after Parashat Kitovo. Why it's significant? Because in Parashat Kitovo, there is a Teichecho. Moshe standing at the last day of his life, at the end of the 40 years in the desert, and give the Teichecho, the second Teichecho. The first Teichecho in Sefer Vayikra, Parashat Bechukotai, and the second one is Parashat Kitovo. And he said to the Jewish nation, if you listen to Hashem and be faithful to the signature that you had in Ma'amad Har Sinai, Na'aseh v'Nishma, your entire history will be positive, will be amazing. You'll be in Eretz Yisrael, you'll have everything in the highest level in economy and security and everything. If you will not, the history will be according, meaning you'll not stay in Eretz Yisrael, you go to exile, you'll have a lot of problems that will be. Okay, those two options was giving in details in Parashat Kitovo. After he finished this, come Parashat Nitzavim, and in Parashat Nitzavim he adding to what he said in Parashat Kitovo, and he says the following. Look, let's learn those psukim. It's one pasuk, pasuk Yud Zayin. Pen yesh bachem, ish o isha o mishpacha o shevet. Says Moshe Rabbeinu, I'm afraid that maybe there is among you a man, a woman, a family, or a tribe, asher levavo poneh hayom me'im Hashem Elokeinu, that even after all what we saw in the 40 years in the desert, and after I said to you the Toichech of Parshas Kitovo, I'm still afraid that maybe that you have here someone that is heart turn away from Hashem. Turn away from Hashem. ללכת לעבוד את אלוהי הגויים האלה, את אלוהי הגויים, ההם. פן יש בכם שורש פורה ראש ולענה. So he said, I'm afraid that maybe in one of you, a person, a family, a tribe, in their heart, not in their mouth, in their heart, they have a thought that maybe there is another God aside from Hashem. Maybe. And he called it, Pen yesh bachem shoresh, pore rosh velana. Maybe you have in you, among you, a root that will bring bitter fruit. Shoresh, pore, rosh velana. Shoresh is the root. Rosh velana, it's kind of very strong, bitter vegetables or fruits, whatever. That the words that Moshe Rabbeinu use. Meaning, it's not that you say anything in your mouth, but maybe in your heart you have a root that's not good. Okay? Those are the words of the pasuk. Says the Ramban on this pasuk there, ואמר, פורה ראש ולענה, לרמוז, כי משורש מתוק לא יצא מר. You want to hint us something. What do you want to hint? It's clear, it's known. Every farmer will tell you this, that if you put a sweet seed in the ground, משורש מתוק, from a sweet root, לא יצא מר. Could not be that the fruit will be bitter if the root is sweet. The fruit could not be other than sweet. So what's the hint? What's the big hint here? לרמוז כי משורש מתוק לא יצא מר. Now, what's the implication to what he said? וכל אשר לבבו שלם עם השם הנכבד. If your heart is complete with Hashem, the heart is the root. So he said the following, וכל אשר לבבו שלם עם השם הנכבד, ולא הרהר כלל בעבודה זרה, and he never considered any other God. Here's the promise. לא יוליד בן מודה בה. Could not be that his descendants, his people, his children, will have the tendency to be kofer, to deny Hashem. If the parents, if the generations that's standing here with Moshe Rabbeinu then at the time, if your heart is complete, this is a guarantee that your children will be complete like you. If you have some doubts, that could cause that your children will leave. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu says. So that the Ramban explaining this parable to Shoresh Poreh Rosh Vela'ana. So let's read it again in the Ramban. The Ramban says the following: ואמר פורה ראש, לרמוז, to hint, כי משורש מתוק לא יצא מר, from a good sweet root never come a bitter fruit. וכל אשר לבבו שלם עם השם הנכבד, anyone that his heart is complete with Hashem, ולא הרהר כלל בעבודה זרה, he don't hear but הרהור הלב, that something crossed their mind, maybe. If he is complete, לא יוליד בן מודה בה. He will not have children that will agree that there is maybe something else aside from Hashem. Now, after he declared this, it's the same like what the Rambam says, right? It's the same. But he continued. The Ramban aware of the problem that we raised before. So how could it be? We know during the history, but be aware of how the Ramban put the question. He said the following, ואל תקשה עלי בזה מן הכתוב ביחזקאל פרק י"ח פסוק י'. What's written in יחזקאל פרק י"ח פסוק י'? והוליד בן פריץ. Over there he speaks about the tzaddik that has a ben paritz. Ben paritz is a Rosha. So, what's the question of the Ramban? I just told you that anyone that was completely tzaddik, their children are going to be tzaddikim. But the Navi said, he's not asking what we see in our eyes, because maybe we see wrong. But if the Navi said, that could not be wrong, and the Navi said that there could be such a phenomena, that a tzaddik will have a ben paritz, ben Rasha. So according to this, my declaration before contradicted by the Navi. So he said, don't ask me this question. Don't ask question on me from the Navi. Why? And here's the frustrating things. Look what he said. ואל תקשה עלי בזה מן הכתוב ביחזקאל והוליד בן פריץ, כי אמת הדבר, וסוד גדול לא אוכל לפרש בו. Because what I said is true. I, the Navi, said the opposite. Even what the Navi said, that could be a tzaddik that have a Rasha children, it's not a kushya, it's not a question on me. How it's not a question? It's obvious question. He said, no, it's not a question. But if you ask me to explain this, I'm sorry, I could not tell you. Because it's a secret. Not just secret, big secret. וסוד גדול לא אוכל לפרש בו. I know the answer, says the Ramban. Believe me, what I declare is true. Never ever will be that a tzaddik will have a ben Rasha. Never. The Navi said something that seemed opposite of what I said. I have the answer. I could not share it with you. Why? Because it's a secret. So frustrating. It seems like, wow, this is one of the biggest questions ever. Not just on the Ramban, but on the Rambam that we saw before. And it's so unfair. You put us in a situation that we are so curious, we want to really understand this, and you said, no, I could not tell you. It's a secret. So we could say, you know what? We do not know. But we believe the Ramban. He knows. So there is no question. That's it. but we are too curious to be satisfied with this. So let me tell you what happened. And by the way, we'll learn something very, very interesting about secrets of Hashem. Secrets meaning it's Sod Gadol of Hashem. It's Torah. So he said there are in the Torah 4 levels: Pshat, Remez, Drash, Vesod. And the Sod is Sod, a secret. It says in Tehillim, who knows the Sod? Who knows the secrets? The secrets of Hashem. Sod Hashem li're'av. You have to be a Yoreh Shamayim. So the Ramban says, I could not share this secret to the public. So that's the way it seems to stayed after the Rambam declared what he declared, and the Ramban, and we do not know the answer. Time passed. And you know, every country has the secrets of the country. Let's say US. We have the secrets of the army. Let's say, I don't know about the atomic bomb or other secrets. Who knows the secrets? The more sensitive the secret is, only few people knows it. Not even the soldiers or the commanders in the army, only certain people know it. So there is a phenomena of secrets, let's say of the US Army in the World War I, World War II. But now we are 8 years after. So could be that things that was very sealed secret, top secrets, until let's say 20 years ago, now it's not a problem anymore to open it, because it's not going to harm anyone. So there is such a thing. Very sensitive top secrets that will be a secret until a certain time, and thereafter that, they will be open, or partially open. That's what happened. At the time of the Ramban, that's what he said. I could not tell you. There is a solution to this problem. I could not tell you. Years passed, the Ramban wrote those things 900 years ago, approximately. Actually, Ramban, 850 years ago. Time passed. Another approximately 400 years. And then come the Ari HaKadosh. 500 years ago, in Tzfat, 550, the Ari HaKadosh got permission to explain things that were sealed in the Torah, in the Zohar. And he made a big work. And now no one could learn Kabbalah, Zohar, which was written 1800 years ago, without the directions or the things that the Ari HaKadosh revealed 500 years ago. Even today, after this revealed, not everyone gets the schus to understand it, to learn it, but it's more open. Many more people knows based on the Ari to understand the secret of the Zohar. At the time of the Ari, actually one of the Talmidim of the Ari was the Shach. The Shach is the Siftei Kohen. He was a great Mekubal. And be aware of the process. I'm going to quote to you now from the Shach. It's about 450 years ago. So the Shach says the following. Siftei Kohen on the Devarim on this pasuk. Porei Rosh Vela'ana. The Shach quote the Rekanati. I'm sorry if I'll be mixing you up with a lot of names, but okay, it's not too many. Was a great Mekubal after the Ramban about 700 years ago. His name was Rabbi Menachem Rekanati. Rekanati wrote a whole parush on the Torah based on the Kabbalah. And the Shach, we're talking again 400 years after the Rekanati, 350 years after the Rekanati, he quoted the Rekanati. The Shach quoted the Rekanati. וכתב הרב רקנתי זיכרונו לברכה. פירש הרב הגדול, meaning the Ramban, כי משורש מתוק לא יצא מר. From a sweet root will not be a bitter, will come out bitter. וכל אשר לבבו שלם עם השם הנכבד, ולא ירהר בעבודה זרה, לא יוליד בן מודה בה. he quoting here the Ramban that we saw before. ואל תקשה עלי מזה, that's the continuation of the words of the Ramban. ואל תקשה עלי מזה הכתוב והוליד בן פריץ, כי אמת הדבר וסוד גדול לא אוכל לפרש. עד כאן דבריו זיכרונו לברכה, meaning the Rekanati quoting the Ramban. עד כאן דבריו של הרמב"ן. And says the Rekanati, ואני שמעתי ולא אבין. He said the obvious, what we feel when we read the Ramban. I heard what he said, but I still do not understand. How could it be? ולא אבין. So the Shach quoting the Rekanati that quote the Ramban that said, we stayed in a question mark here. Continued the Shach. Now the Shach, after he bring this, he said, ואולי כי כוונת הרב זיכרונו לברכה היא, כי אין נקרא בניו אלא החדשים. And here, he bring it, he said אולי בענווה, but actually that is the explanation. He now going to explain how could it be. Be aware of a big thing. Be ready for, okay. He says, what's the Navi says? That it's impossible that parents will have children if they complete with Hashem. It's impossible that their children will be kofrim. That's what they said. That the Navi says. Says the Shach. This is the explanation. And again, it comes after the Ari HaKadosh. And after the Ari HaKadosh explain things that mentioned in the Zohar many years before without explanations. And this is the secret of Gilgal Neshama, reincarnation, which is discussed deeply in the Kabbalah. Reincarnation meaning that it's possible that a Neshama, a soul of someone who lived in this world for one lifetime, this Neshama, after it separates the body and goes upstairs to the Beit Din Shel Mala, they will send this Neshama again to this world to fix things that went wrong in the first time. So this is the concept of Gilgul Neshama, that Neshama could be in more than one body. To fix, to actualize unused potential, many reasons why it will be a Gilgul Neshama. Okay? So, after that, let's see now the words of the Shach. ואולי, כי כוונת הרב זיכרונו לברכה היא, כי אין נקרא בניו אלא החדשים, והצדיק לא הוליד בן חדש, רק אם יהיה צדיק כמוהו. Let me explain. The Gemara in Maseches Kedushin says, 3 partners in every baby, in every fetus. The father, the mother, and Hashem. Now the father and the mother are the physical root of this baby. The DNA, we spoke about this yesterday. The DNA is a combination of the things that we get from the father and the mother, but not the Neshama. The Neshama we do not get from our parents. The Neshama we got from Hashem. He is the third partner. Now, question is, this Neshama, let's say another baby is on the way now to go to this world. This Neshama of the baby that Hashem put in the baby, is that a new Neshama or a reincarnate Neshama? Why it's significant? If it's a new baby, a new Neshama, so all the partners has a new things. New Neshama from Hashem, the father and the mother for sure. This is a new baby. It was not here before from them. But if it's reincarnate Neshama, so the father and the mother, biologically, they are the parents of this. Biologically, they are the parents of this baby. But the Neshama of this baby was in the world before, in a different body. And in this different body, the parents are not the same parents. You get what I'm saying? So, when the Navi promised that a father, if he's a tzaddik, he will never has a baby, a child that is not a tzaddik, it's only if the neshama is a new neshama. Because it's all pure. But if the neshama was in the world before, it means that this neshama has in the former life other father, other mother. So that's not applied to what the Navi says, to what the Ramban says. Mishoresh matok lo yetze mar. But it's only applied when the entire thing is new. But if the neshama was in the world before, so this current father or mother, are not the only ones of those neshama. He had father in former life. So that's not applied. And that is the secret. And the Ramban says, I could not tell you about this because it's a big secret. It's one of the secrets of the Kabbalah that at the time of the Ramban, it was not allowed to reveal. But after the Ari published or made known the concept of the Gilgul Neshama, now I could give you some hints about this. So let's see what he says. ואולי, כי כוונת הרב זיכרונו לברכה היא, כי אין נקרא בניו אלא החדשים, והצדיק לא הוליד בן חדש רק אם יהיה צדיק כמוהו. But it's only if it's a new baby. ואם תמצא שהוא פריץ ושופך דם, הוא בן הפריץ הזה שהצדיק הולידו. His father is, we are not doubting the parents. The parents are tzaddikim. So it could be that someone will be very big tzaddik and their children, or one of their children, will not go on the route. Why? Because of this. That he is not the only father of him because he was here in the world before. Okay. It's complicated. I mean, there are still things that we need to verify, but slowly. That's why I said, we'll see. ואם תמצא שהוא פריץ ושופך דם, הוא בן הפריץ הזה שהצדיק הולידו. ולא היה זה הצדיק אביו הראשון. He's not his first father. והראיה שלא נקרא זרע, רק הצדיק. You bring a raya, very interesting raya. שנאמר, כי ביצחק יקרא לך זרע. Avraham Avinu was a tzaddik? He was, right? And Hashem promised him that ביצחק יקרא לך זרע. Be aware of the word in the dikduk, in Hebrew, in Lashon HaKodesh. ביצחק יקרא לך זרע. Because Avraham Avinu said, לו ישמעאל יחיה לפניך. It was before Yitzchak was born. And Hashem told him, I'm going to give you this land and your children. So Avraham says, and he told him, אבל שרה אשתך יולדת לך בן. Right? Then Avraham said, maybe you mean Ishmael. So Hashem told him, no. כי ביצחק יקרא לך זרע. When I promised the land to you and to your זרעך, I meant Yitzchak. How it's written in the Pasuk? Be-Yitzchak. What's the bet? Be-Yitzchak. First of all, we see Avraham was a tzaddik, Ishmael was not. And later on, Bnei Keturah were not. Only one of his children was a tzaddik, which is Yitzchak. But even in Yitzchak, and this is the meaning of Be-Yitzchak, Be-Yitzchak velo kol Yitzchak, not all of Yitzchak, because Yitzchak himself has Yaakov and Esav. And only Yaakov continued and Esav not. So we find over here that could be appearance of two twins, Yaakov and Esav. One is a Rasha shebaroshaim, and one is a Tzaddik shebatzadikim. Because he is the son. Yitzchak is the son of Avraham. According to this, Ishmael, Bnei Keturah, was a reincarnate. Avraham was not their first father. Same way with Yitzchak. And Esav and Yaakov. Yaakov was the son, the pure son. Esav was the Gilgal. Of what? Well, there are many discussions about this in the Kabbalah. בכל מקרה, that's what he said. והראיה שלא נקרא זרע רק הצדיק, שנאמר כי ביצחק יקרא לך זרע. ואמרו חז"ל, ביצחק ולא בישמעאל. ביצחק ולא כל יצחק. רק ביעקב ולא בעשיו. עד כאן, until here, זה ציטוט, that's a quote from חז"ל, זהו סיוע לדברינו. So this is the explanation of the Shach. He actually explained or revealed the secret that the Ramban hesitate or actually refused to say. Now on this, there is quote that I have to put over here of the Satmar Rebbe, Divrei Yoel. So the Divrei Yoel bring the entire story, and let's see what he added into this. והרקנתי והשחל התורה גילו סודו. They reveal the secret of the Ramban, שהוא סוד הגלגול, the secret of reincarnation. רוצה לומר שבגלגולים הקודמים שורש נשמותיהם ואבותיהם of those people who was born to a tzaddikim but get off the derech and died like Roshoim, the meaning is that the shoresh neshama of them was from the Erev Rav. רוצה לומר שבגלגולים הקודמים שורש נשמותיהם ואבותיהם מערב רב, ומשם נמשך בחינת נפש רעה אליו להיות מודה בעבודה זרה חס ושלום. And he continue and adding here the Rambam, because the Shach, the Rekanati, relate to the words of the Ramban. The Divrei Yoel bring the Rambam. ועל דרך זה יתבאר גם כן דברי הרמב"ם זיכרונו לברכה באיגרת תימן, שכל מי שנטע מדרך הדת הנתונה במעמד הר סיני, שאינו מזרע האנשים ההם. אף שלפי הראות הוא מזרע האנשים כשרים ומיוחסים, we see that there could be a children of צדיקים. אבל שורש נשמותיהם מערב רב. ואלו הם אבותיו בגלגול הקודם, והם הערב רב המעורבים בישראל, שהזכירו בזוהר הקדוש. The Zohar deals a lot with the Erev Rav that they mixed in among the Jewish nation. ומבואר בזוהר הקדוש בכמה מקומות, והגלות היותר קשה הוא גלות ישראל בערב רב. Now, the thing that we need to explain before we conclude this, it's part of a big, big thing. But let's just close the circles. If we continue to what we started with the Yechezkel, Yechezkel Hanavi speaks about the redemption that there will be at the end of days. And he said it will be like what happened in the desert. What happened in the desert? People, or the generation that didn't believe that Hashem could bring them to Eretz Yisrael and overcome the Canaanites, they do not deserve redemption. So they will die in the desert. So says the Navi Yechezkel, the same thing going to repeat itself before the big redemption at the end of days. The Jews will be scattered all over among the nations of the world, and that's called Midbar Ha'amim, and will experience suffering after suffering, challenge after challenge, technically, physically, but anti-Semite. But the biggest nisayon will be doubts about the truth and authenticity of Judaism. That will come when the Jews will be among the nations. And many Jews, as it says in Daniel, will leave because they will have doubts. Who said that the Torah is truth? What's the purpose of all of this? To verify who is the pure gold. Because the Geula will be only for those who deserve it. And who will deserve the Geula? Only the one who are strong and go through all those challenges. Now, during the history, we find out that, let's say, until, let's say, 300 years ago, that was physically pogroms, murder, inquisition, even the Holocaust. It was physical. They want to eliminate physically the Jews. But alongside with it, there is something even more horrifying. Not kill the physical body of the Jews, but kill the Neshama of the Jew. How? By mix them up. By convince them that the Torah is old-fashioned, it's not relevant anymore. And we see, you know, the biggest Holocaust, real Holocaust, is we're losing Jews by intermarriage. Why people got intermarriage? Because it's not important to them to stay Jewish. Meaning this is the biggest challenge, because people they rationalize it. You know why? Because it's old-fashioned. Come on, let's be let's go with the flow. Let's be progress. The science proved already that there is no God. So this is what we hear, and many Jews who are not strong just go out. This is part of a process. Of course, every Jew has a Bechira. And that's why the Rambam begged the Rav over there in the community. Teach everyone, make them strong in their emunah, because those are the challenges. So that's what we have to do in this generation, if we could. First of all, we ourselves have to be strong in emunah. Eliminate all the doubts. And there are ways. Just learn. Learn and you'll see the truth. But the powers around are so big and so strong, and the pressure is so hard. We see what's going on. So you could see people that came from a very good families, and you see in the same family, one of the children is a tzaddik and the other one is completely off. So we have to know those are the challenges of the generation, and this is the birur. But the thing that we have to add to this, in order to understand it in the right proportion, we have to know that even those who have a negative background spiritually, meaning their neshamas, as he said over here, from the Erev Rav. What's Erev Rav? Erev Rav is irbuv. Irbuv, mix of what? Actually, the source of Erev Rav was the first sin. Ha'achila me'etz ha'da'at tov v'ra. That the impact of the achila me'etz ha'da'at tov v'ra, of Adam and Chava, was mixing every good with bad, every bad with good. There is no pure good, no pure bad, and that's a problem. Every bad has something good in it. This way, the bad could sell itself. There's something good, right? So the process of the history is to go back to before Chet Adam Rishon, to put the negative aside and the pure good aside. And then at the end of days, just eliminate the negative altogether. Until then, we have a Bechira. And even people who have a problematic, quote, spiritual background, let's say that their Neshama has from the Erev Rav, they still have a chance. Because in them, they have a good mixed with negative. So they have a chance to overcome the negative with a positive. So it's not, okay, what can I do if here I got the bad Neshama? No, it's not. Even the bad Neshama has good in it. And they have a Bechira to overcome the negative with the positive. This is the purpose altogether. And this is the way we should relate to the phenomena after this explanation of people from good families who leave the derech. Get off the derech. Get off the derech, you could bring them back if they want. If they really do not want, their choice is to overcome the good with the negative, chas v'shalom. But there is a chance for everyone. So this is a glimpse of this big issue about the nisyonos and achris hayomim, about the challenges that we're facing here. You see today, the pressure is amazingly strong from technology and everything. And people say, okay, who said that it's true? It's always a good excuse why to do whatever I want. Who said it's true? But it is true, and this is the thing that we have to work on. Be mechazek emunah in us and in the people around us. Be'ezrat Hashem. Okay, that's what we could cover. We have to go to Ma'ariv. Yeah.
So how do